Do 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 do. Okay, I think we're live. I'll double check real quick, but hopefully we are. So for everyone out there, how are you doing today? And
Welcome, welcome.
yeah, we got a haunted story today.
We
And
love Halloween. It's kind of our jam.
yes, Halloween is super uh I don't know. It's my favorite holiday just because it's quick, it's in, it's out, it's done. It
Buy a thing of candy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really just
Are you going to dress up this year, Shirley?
I'm not.
no,
I'm not.
What about you, Jared?
I think I might sport the Bigfoot again. I didn't really get to use it last year to its full extent because of my coronavirus. But yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully hopefully we get to have fun and everything else. I'm going to do some quick sharing, but so Shirley's coming on to tell us she had a haunting experience when she was younger, and
Yeah.
In
she's
our hometown.
yes in our hometown, and she's given us a little bit of the details over Messenger, and it's a wild situation, and it I don't know if I would be okay after that.
Hence, I'm sitting in my car.
Hence, you're sitting in your car. Yeah, I it would
You don't want to talk about it in your house?
Nope.
yeah it would scare. Now, is it
Oh,
in the current house you're in?
Well, we have some activity here in the home that we live in, but it's not been as crazy and wild as the activity that I grew up with.
Oh man, yeah. See,
do you think it followed you?
Um, Not the really bad parts, no, but I do get sometimes from like the previous owners that live here and stuff.
I wonder if you're just really more open to it because of your experiences. So now you notice things that the rest of us wouldn't notice.
Yeah,
mm,
mine's
That's
really
creepy.
so
older
like that's a good point. So
stuff. So
you might have gained experience, like someone who has a job, like a someone who does walls, drywall and stuff. They
yeah,
can walk in even after it's all done and painted and see where mistakes were made. So
yes.
because you have been up close and personal with the and there's Betsy's beep. I heard it, Betsy. I heard,
Listen, I'm consistent. I'm consistent, Jared.
Betsy loves to have at least one fire extinguisher in the house on dead battery, just so that we get to enjoy
I
the.
swear. Surely I change them all the time, but I swear I
There is
cannot
one you
figure
don't
out
know
why
about.
this is still beeping.
They've lived there 10 years, and it's been a constant chatter for nine and a half of them. But anyways,
Oh.
back to the story. Everyone, the beep keeps time. That's what it's our metronome.
That's
So maybe because you've experienced it on a up close level, now you notice the little inconsistencies that come with other uh visitors, I
yeah,
guess.
Well, it's like a second language. If you grow up with a second language, you know the language.
Like pig
correct.
Latin. Yeah, second language.
Like pig Latin.
Fluent. I
That's not a
I
language.
put it down on my resumes.
You guys
Yeah.
crack.
Oh.
But man,
Uh,
that's all. So, without any further ado, what year was it? Where was you at? In your house? How old
How
were
did it
you?
start?
Yeah.
okay. Well, when 73, we moved to our home down the street. So on Plum Street.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't want to bring any bad anybody that's down there on Plum Street. But
Right.
right. But when we moved in there, there was this like dead smell always by the front porch. And we like tried to figure out what the dead smell was every year, like summertime. And so we never did find it out, what it was. But underneath the porch area, that one room that's just like right connected right
Mm-hmm.
above it, if that makes sense. um, that room was one of the worst rooms in the whole entire house.
That was the one with the most like haunting and activity.
Activity, haunting, everything that happened in there. And I was like, I had a rough night sleeping because I was like anticipating talking about it. And I'm like, it's going to be okay. It's all right.
That's why you
But
went to your car to talk about it, so you get a haunted car. I mean,
it's like my son's Jeep's haunted. You seen the pictures
uh, uh
that I sent you guys?
Oh, yes. Let
So
me
we,
tell you.
yeah.
Did you see those pictures,
I did not. What was
Shirley?
they sent on?
I'm going to send them to you right now.
Okay. So I'm gonna pull
Creepiest
them up.
pictures. I've showed them to everybody. I've showed them to everybody.
I put them on Facebook.
Oh. Okay, okay. Keep talking. Tell us, give us the good
So
stuff.
in this room that I'm talking about, well, when my parents built on the rooms downstairs, my brother stayed downstairs because he was the only boy. The rest of us girls stayed in upstairs.
So
And
you guys kicked your brother down into the ghost land?
right,
Poor guy.
so he got things thrown at him all the time in his bedroom. And so he turned the light on and he wouldn't see anybody. And then when my sister had her oldest son, she come and lived home. And when I'd go down there and sleep by them, um, my nephew would growl and he would like say things that is not like his voice. And so he would just like he would bite me in the middle of the night, and I was just like, this is insane. And then every time I'd go into that room when I was little, the ghost would always say, well, if you want it, come and get it. And it's just like the light was right in
No.
the middle of the room, and I would like run out there. My heart would be pounding, and I told my dad, if you want that pan, you're gonna go get it yourself. I'm not going to get in there. And
Mm.
the other things that happens that my dad didn't believe us girls that stuff was happening and whatnot. He's just like, oh, it's just a bunch of bull crap, whatever. And so one night he got up to get a glass of milk. The basement door opened and slammed shut. The cabinets used to like open and shut all the time. You could hear footprints through the home. But he looked down the stairs and he seen nobody. Then he calls my brother up. Did you come upstairs to slam the door? No. And so he got his first taste of it. And I mean, you could hear like chains wrapped around this person. They're like dragging down the hallway. And it was just like really freaky. It was scary.
So
And then
so the
on the way,
ghost had like a sound like chains wrapped around it.
yes, there
So
were
it was.
several entities that lived there, more than one.
Oh man.
And
So,
so
do you know who lives in the home now, Shirley?
I don't, but I do have a freaky story for you about it.
So,
Cause
before you tell me that, I have to tell you that I drove by
okay,
and just to kind of get a vision of where it's at, because I had talked to my dad about the plot maps and what did they look like back then. And he said, well, everything south of about those first 2 blocks of Main Street was like open farmland with a couple of houses. And he
yeah,
said he didn't think any of them were still there, but I recognized the vehicle in the driveway. So I reached out to her and,
okay,
hey, I have a weird question for you. Does anything weird happen in your house? And she said, other than everything, no.
Other than everything.
She said there is a
It's like,
other than everything. That was her exact words. Other than everything, no. The cabinets, she mentioned the cabinets. They replaced all of the kitchen cabinets.
wow,
They've done a remodel on the kitchen and the bathroom. And she said the kitchen cabinets, they thought that the kitchen cabinets were just faulty. Like
um,
maybe it was leaning a little bit. They had a contractor come in and level them. She said every morning the cabinets above her fridge are wide open.
yep,
So it's still happening at that house, whatever it is.
oh man.
it's
So,
freaky. It's like
oh,
a zone, I guess, is what I feel. Is like it's like, well, I don't know if it's a zone, but I don't know what you'd call it, but like some kind of conduit maybe for spirits.
Mm.
That everything enters there, comes and
Okay, so
goes.
tell us your freaky story.
Well, I got a couple of them.
Yeah,
Kind of
lay it out. I feel bad for your brother. It seems like he's the one that got the short straw on this deal.
yeah, he eventually it didn't bother him as much anymore. But my parents didn't finish. Well, my dad before finished the basement. But I used to play down there in the like, I guess it was like where you store your food.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, the pantry type food storage area.
Like, like, yeah, underneath that one room, you had to go through the room to get to the storage room. There we go. And so I would be playing in the toy box. Well, the toy box slammed down, and there's no way that I could lift that to get out when I was that little because I was like 3, 4. So I would go down in there, and I had Indians come and visit me and play with me. So I'd be sitting on the floor, and I would be like playing with Indian guys, and they would talk to me, and I'd be like, okay, I'd kind of have a communication. My mom would come down to do laundry, and she's like, okay, Shirley, who are you talking to? I'm like, my Indian friends, and she's just like, okay. Because she didn't see nobody, but I seen them. As soon as they heard, seen my mom, they're like, well, don't tell her that we were here because we can't come back. And I'd be like, okay. So, but I'd tell her, well, it was my Indian friends because she'd question me all the time. But I had a couple of Indians come and visit me there. Um, that's the
Were they friendly? Were they all were they
yeah.
the nice ones?
The nice ones were the Indians, yes.
Okay.
So my sister had bought my nephew one of those riding horses. So he
Uh-huh.
rode like a cowboy, and then he also fell over onto his horse, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Well, I just got shot with an arrow." And so they're like, "Okay." It's just some things like that. It was just kind of weird that way. But the real freaky story is my mom, after she finished it, would go down and make the bed that's for the spare room. And every time she'd go down once a week to do her laundry, the blankets would be folded back. So she'd go in there and she's just like,
Oh.
okay. So she'd, make it again, make the whole entire bed. But every week it would go down there and mess up the bed.
So she just kept going after it, not going, what is going on here? I need to get a couple priests. I need.
Oh, we've done blessings and stuff for like try to, cast stuff out, but they would go away for a while, but they always seem to like come back. So I don't know what happened on the land there before, my parents moved there, but it's pretty like creepy. It's really creepy there.
Ooh.
But this one entity itself told my mom that before she moved, that if she did not move, that they were going to push her down the stairs and break her neck.
Oh,
So
okay.
2 weeks after the new people moved in there, the lady that lived there with her children, I think they since moved, fell down and broke her neck.
Oh no.
So you think maybe they
I,
were
a box in hand, I'd just be like packing stuff up. Got it.
not box in hand. No, you're just throwing stuff out windows and doors. Matter of fact, I am taking what I absolutely need and I am leaving behind just the match I just struck. That's it. That
You're right.
That's scary.
yeah.
Yeah. My mom and my stepdad went to Reno one night, and they just felt like there was somebody in the back seat with them all the way there. And when they got to the room and they got ready for bed and whatnot, all of a sudden they felt somebody get on top of both of them while they were laying in bed, and they wrestled with my stepdad
In the
and
hotel room.
in the motel room.
And so it
Yes.
followed him to Vegas. It wanted to roll some dice and then oh,
So he fought with it, and then it went out and slammed the door. And then my stepdad got up, turned the lights on, went out to look out the door, and there's nobody there. But the man had one of the entities that was there. Yeah, went with them to Reno. So she's like, never go to the MGM Grand in Reno. I'm like, that's check. I'm not going there because I'm not bringing that one back.
so now on a side note, that might be a way to deal with it. Is
Take it somewhere else.
take the ghosts for
Throw it
rides.
out.
Take them for rides
Right?
to better places.
My car, let's go.
Oh.
You know what's weird, you guys? The most peace I find when I just need time out for myself is I always go to the graveyard. I always go there.
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah. Everywhere I've moved, I've always found peace in the graveyard. And so I go there and sometimes I commune with spirits, sometimes I don't. I'm like, okay, I'm not open today.
Mm.
I need time. Or else I'll go and I'll be like, okay, you want to have a conversation? I'll have a conversation with you.
So
Oh.
why do you think that's more peaceful? Do you think it's because you get to control it?
Um, I just always found peace in the graveyard. I love going there when my dad died. And I know that when I go there, people there are dead. So they really can't like hurt me. Does that make sense? And
Yeah, yeah.
knock on wood, I've never had a bad experience in a graveyard, but I've always found peace there that, and it's just like, okay. And I would never want to draw any evil to anybody, to you, either one of you, or anybody else. But it's just like growing up with that, it was just, it was really super difficult. And I would have nightmares all the time of things holding me down and I couldn't breathe. And then you're in that state that, you can't, you think you're awake, but you're not awake. But this entity, this spirit's like pulling you down. And I was so terrified, you guys, when it happened to me out there when I lived there, that I went a whole year, almost 2 years without sleeping for 2 whole years because of that. And it was just like, it was so crazy. My mom's just like, it was just a dream, but it felt so real. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I don't
okay.
know if that was the spirit with them to Reno at that time, which I kind of hope that it was, and tell everybody not to go to the MGM in Reno
And only
because
the
of it.
nice
But
ones,
it's just, yeah,
hopefully only the nice ones stay behind. But then again, the people that moved in after you.
yeah,
I
I know,
wonder,
right? Feel bad for 'em.
yeah. I mean, how do you
It's been so
disclose that
many all
on,
time.
do you put that on the sign out front, this house is for sale, realtor name up top, haunted, threatened, how do you do that? Is there chains you hang tassels by all the different, oh, that would have to be rough. What was your,
Yeah.
what was your childhood like then? I mean, like, did you find release when you went to school and things like that? But then when you came home, was it anxious all the time?
Oh yeah. The atmosphere itself is okay upstairs. I mean, sometimes you could, like the chains and stuff that you could hear. For my dad, passed away,
Oh,
dad, but it was just,
we're getting a little bit of a breakup now with Shirley's connection.
uh-oh.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah, we hear you now.
Okay.
It's just gonna be spotty a little bit. So you were saying upstairs was pretty good, but you could hear the
It was pretty
chains.
cool until my father passed away. And then we could hear the chains of like somebody being dragging chains around. And it always would be, of course, at night, but it was really freaky too because during the daytime, if I was there by myself, because my mom worked, I was the youngest, so I was home by myself. And so, but I was always, yeah, that present that you always feel like somebody's behind you. So that rush of adrenaline, like, okay, you turn around and it's just like, okay, who's there? And there's nobody there. And then it got to the point where I couldn't actually really see the people like I seen when I was little, like the Indians that would play with me or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
with my like little schoolhouse or my A-frame house or whatever. But it got to where, that part of seeing them went away, but I could always feel their presence. Is that
Oh
make
my gosh.
Did some of
Like
them?
you outgrew the visual part.
Yep. But the
Yeah.
Like
audio,
your
yeah,
brain outgrew it.
yeah.
Oh. So when you're well, first of all, being young, always flooded with those stress hormones. I'll bet that was a not a fun experience. But then when you when you could feel them, could you maybe detect whether it was like the Indians that were friendly or the mean the
Yeah.
you could feel when it was the mean one. So you might feel the friendly ones and feel okay, and then all of a sudden the mean one washes across you. Oh
Correct.
man,
And I still have that today. Where
really?
I'll like in my home by myself, and we know what's really funny. It's not funny, but it is. So we'll be like my daughter and I will be downstairs in our home that we used to live in Pleasant Grove. Well, I would always hear children yell, "Mom, mother, mom," and right next to my bed, I would always hear children yell, "Mom." Well, I have miscarried 4 children. And so my daughter was downstairs with me. We hear footprints. And we're like, oh, my daughter would go up, like, "Mom, there's here." And so like, it's okay, you know. But I heard that my child or children yell at the top of the stairs, "Mom." And so it always sounds like, one of my kids' voices. And so I'd be like, "Yes," nothing more.
How
And
old
so,
was
I
your
mean, even still today, it happens to me.
How old was your daughter at the time that she started picking up on these noises on the hearing footsteps? Oh,
I hear it, sense it. Oh,
okay. That came through kind of scratchy. Repeat that. How old was your daughter? Oh man, Shirley's got a rough connection right now. Okay, it's back. So how old was your daughter at the time? Oh, I think Shirley's gone for a minute.
I'm like trying to find it.
Yeah,
That's creepy. It's
it's
creepy because scientists have shown that trauma, the last part of trauma to leave is the intuition that you sense, that feeling of fear. So one of the first things to leave is your visual ability to recall the trauma. And then the next thing is your audible ability to recall the trauma. Like if you think about the trauma, you lose the ability to kind of visualize what it looked like, and then you lose the ability to kind of rehear it again. But that intuition, that sense of fear stays with you forever.
okay. She's
So it's likely that her intuition from having gone through that is what she's still experiencing right now.
oh, I'm it. That or what if she opened her not opened herself up? That's the wrong way to put it. What if that the experience kind of opened her up to being able to see stuff, being able to notice
Maybe ignorance is bliss.
I'm telling you I
There you
I
are.
I've been trying to tell people that
Welcome
for
back.
so long. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is where I live. That's my wheelhouse.
I
All
was
Unless
right.
you're
telling
playing
Jared,
with,
Okay, so where we left off with Shirley. How old was your daughter at the time when she was telling you she was hearing the footsteps? Oh,
it's like choppy.
yeah. Okay. All right. Well, maybe
maybe
Shirley
they don't
has.
want us to know.
Yeah, Shirley needs to. If she's parked by that haunted house, she needs to move because they're on there messing around. But yeah, so I think let's take a minute, and I'm going to tell
Speaking of
my
arrows,
tell my news, my wild and crazy news. I'm not going to show this on screen. There's not much to show. So I'm just going to
Very
tell
well.
the story. Oh, you there again, Shirley? Oh, yeah. It's going to bump our cameras around and make it real goofy again for a second. That's okay. I can maybe I can preempt this. Okay. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, there you are.
I'm like,
Are you parked in front of the haunted house? Or
I'm parked in front of my home, but not the haunted house.
is your home a haunted house?
The Jeep yet? I'm parked by
Did
the
you see
Jeep.
that picture, Jared?
Yeah, of the Jeep. Now, yeah, let's look at that picture real quick. Matter of fact, I am going to pull that picture up and all right. Come on now. All right. Come on, Mr. Computer. Okay, I'm looking at the picture. We've got a picture of a Jeep. Looks like
Now
it's
set this up for us, Shirley.
yeah.
Where was this at?
All right, so
Who
I
was around?
to use the restroom, and I heard something out by my laundry area.
Uh-huh.
Like, okay, so I zoomed into the back camera that I have in my driveway. So my
Mm-hmm.
son had his Jeep parked in there. And I was like, okay, well, I seen something inside of the Jeep. So I like zoomed into the camera really far. And I was just like, oh my gosh, there is a
There-
spirit inside the Jeep. So I hurried up and snapped some photos because I thought my son's one, he's never going to believe me until I get proof that there's somebody in his Jeep. And so he was just like, he looks at it, he zooms in, and he's like, wow, that's freaky. And I'm like, well, it didn't seem like a bad spirit to me. But when I had my sister look at it, she had one of the lunch ladies, LaDawn, I believe, at West Elementary. She looked at it and she's like, okay, she thought, because she's like a medium.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, my impressions that I get when I first look at it is like it was either a father figure or it was a son that used to own the Jeep. And so she told my son to listen to the song on the radio that comes on in the Jeep. Well, the song that comes on in the radio all the time in the Jeep when he's in it and he turns it on, it's always like there. It's always on. And it's by Elva Sean, I believe. My Kid or something like that. My Boy. That song.
Mm.
So,
The I I just zoomed in on this picture and it looks like
a whole person.
it's sitting in the Jeep, kind of leaning over towards the center. Uh, has a mustache. To me, it looks like a teenage boy. It just has
It does.
the smooth complexion of a teenage boy. He doesn't look like he's been beaten down by a factory job just yet. Oh my gosh.
oh.
That
My
is
son thought it might have been one of my kids that I miscarried because I've got boys and girls, but I mean I don't know which is which, but I sense their spirit. But he's like, I think that's one of my brothers, and I was just like, well, it could be, I don't know, but he's just like, that's kind of cool. So I asked him to like the next time he goes jeeping, which he's gone several times since then, but I'm like, just pay attention to like what you feel and what you sense. So he's like, well, there's nothing really bad. And I'm like, okay, as long as
oh
it's not bad, it's okay. They want to go for a ride with him or whatever.
oh.
But
Mm.
Now
did you see the white orbs that come in from the videos?
I didn't see any. I didn't see the videos. Betsy, did you see the videos?
Yeah. So there's all these white orbs. It's kind of hard to isolate them, but you can see them kind of floating in and out of the video.
Yep. It's always by my front door.
I'm gonna.
So
I'm gonna.
wild.
I've blown up the
I
Jeep.
catch them. My cameras catch them all the time. coming in and out. And I'm like, as long as they're wide, it's okay.
as long
You're
as
welcome to come in.
they're white, it's okay. Oh.
Can you share that picture, Jared?
Yes, I'm setting it up to share it right now. I'm going to throw it up on Facebook and I'm going to throw it up on the video here for those watching. For those listening, you can go to the Facebook. The picture will be there. I'm just I'm kind of setting it up to so that when I share the picture, it's a zoomed in picture so that you can see it in all of its glory. Because looking far out, it's hard to detect stuff with the way the picture comes, but I think when you zoom in, it's pretty stark.
It's a person.
Yeah, it is
And it's not a solid person.
yeah, and it's got a the color matches the
That it's
color.
not human.
What's that?
Yeah. I guess when you look at it, you can tell that it's not, but it
Oh,
still has a persona of a person. If that makes
yeah.
sense.
Yes.
There's something there. I'm trying to get this to okay. Do. All right.
Oh man.
Yeah, that is scary. It's that so when you looked out your camera, you saw that, was it moving in there?
Nope, but I seen it caught my eye and I seen it and I was just like, so I zoomed in and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I took the 3 photos that I have of it and it kind of like moved in like 2 frames of it.
Really?
But yeah, it just sets right there kind of towards the middle, but yet, and you can see it like leaning up like on the steering wheel, I guess, up that way.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of leaning onto the center console and
Yep.
like it's driving.
Yeah. Like it wants to redrive. Yeah.
So, do you think anything followed you from your old house? Do you ever get that sense?
As I moved from Grantsville, when I built my own home in Tooele, I didn't have any bad things happen there. What's really interesting is when I was pregnant and I didn't know I was pregnant. One time I went down the hallway and I seen little baby footprints, and I could hear footprints, and I was just like, so through that, going to Lehigh, from there, nothing really. American Fork was pretty scary because we moved into a home, and I believe that a boy committed suicide, hung himself in one of the rooms.
Mm.
And so they still had the belt hanging over one of the um like rafter thingies.
The
And so I
family
always
did?
felt that the young man killed himself there. But I understand that that part used to be like a mortuary. So I was like, oh, great. Okay. Another conduit, you know, for crap to happen. Oh, but I did see, that reminds me. So one time I caught a photo of a man dressed in a military uniform between my kitchen and my front room. And you could see the photo of it. I've got to try to find the image again. If I can find it in my car, I'll send it to you guys. Yeah, but he was dressed in full military uniform, like World War II or whatever. But I caught that picture of him. It was really strange, but
It makes me wonder if this stuff is happening in a lot of places.
Sorry, Betsy's over there because she is diseased and her disease is showing up in full regalia.
or
Okay, so right now on camera, I am blowing up the picture of the Jeep ghost is what I am calling it. And this is zoomed in quite a bit, so it starts to pixelate a little bit, but it looks like there is a young man leaning
yes,
onto the armrest, got an arm looped over the steering wheel, or looks like a hand on the steering wheel, and it looks like any teenager driving, any teenage boy. Like he's out right now looking for a girlfriend or rummaging around, whatever he's doing. And that is, oh man, that is,
Pretty trippy, isn't it?
yeah, that is wild. Okay, I am sorry. Now you were saying that uh, uh, you, uh, you were pregnant at the time, and you were hearing and you were hearing and seeing or feeling footsteps.
I was hearing like rough little pattering footprints. I didn't know I was pregnant, but I was pregnant at the time.
Uh huh.
And I seen in the carpet the footprints of a baby's like they ran down the hallway.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? And I bent down and I felt it, and I felt the imprint of the baby's footprints
Uh
in
huh.
my carpet. But and then I would just hear children giggle and laugh.
Now I wouldn't think that a baby ghost would be a bad ghost. I think that would be a comforting one. But then again, I have seen Damien and Chucky and all those little ones,
I was gonna mention Chucky, and I was like, oh.
so I guess babies can be mean too. But I wouldn't think so. My experience with babies so far is good in this life. Do you think, here's a crazy question. Do you think that um, maybe there can be more than just, and man, this is a tough one. I'm not putting you on the spot, but do you think that maybe um, the house isn't the fulcrum of the haunting, but the people inside of it?
Yeah. What if it's you?
I didn't want to put it that way, Betsy. Seeing how you want to go
Why?
hard. I wanted to ease into that one, but Betsy brought it hard. Okay, she dropped the hammer. Thank you.
Uh, I don't know. I just always have been very receptive of spirit, and so, and I commune with spirit, if that makes sense. Um, I welcome the good ones, the evil ones. I'm just like, you just need to go find the light, and you'll find peace and happiness. If you're not happy, then by all means,
Mm.
go somewhere else, be somewhere else. In the current home that we do live in, the man that built it, he comes when we like remodel, and he checks it out. I mean, he's just like, and I could feel him be like, okay, well, what are you doing? Why are you doing it?
The
And
ghost of him comes to
what's that?
hover. The ghost of him comes to hover and
Yes,
like,
watches.
oh my, I
And
wonder,
I'm okay with it.
can you feel if he approves of
Yes,
remodeling? So he's like,
yes,
"Oh yeah, that needed to be updated. I cut
yep.
corners there." You
And then
know.
there's sometimes he's like, well, why are you doing it that way? So then I'll be just like, okay, well, we need to do it this way because of this. And then he's like,
Oh man.
okay, I can feel like he's okay with it, if that makes sense. So the people that lived in it before we got it, they actually died. I know the mother died in the home. I don't know if the dad did, but the dad is kind of like a little scary creature. And the mom, she doesn't linger too often. I'm like, you just gotta go find your kids wherever they moved. You just gotta go there.
She's busy,
And
but the dad, so scary creature. What does the dad do? What does the scary one do?
oh, he's awful. And they fell through the ceiling and in several different places, and we've
Okay,
had
hold on,
like
hold on, hold on.
okay,
While they were alive, they fell through the ceiling.
correct. I'm surprised they didn't die, but they did. They
How
fell through two areas.
how did that happen?
They were drunk. They were drunk.
Also, he might be a mean drunk spirit.
Yeah.
So he fell through the ceiling. What was he doing in the ceiling?
Well, it's his sons that fell through. I don't know if the dad ever did, but the sons did fall through the ceiling. The one area that they fell through that I don't know how he survived it was right above where our stairs going down to the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we repaired that area, it was just like you could see the boards were all broken, and they had the ambulance and the police and whatnot. But the one police officer that did come over to our house, he's just like, "Do you care if I look into the hallway?" I'm like, "No, go ahead." And he's like, "Did you know that the guy that used to live here, his kid fell through the ceiling because he was drunk?" And it's happened more than once because they did it once in our front room and then one in the hallway. But and then the guy had a really bad anger issue, so they would kick holes in the wall. So that's what we've just been repairing, drywall. And yeah, he just comes up and he's just like, he's got this like really mean disposition. And he's just like, "Why are you fixing all that?" And I'm like, "You can't duct tape a wall and then put mud over the top of it. That doesn't solve your whole issue."
he,
So,
he fixed it with duct tape.
yeah, to put mud over the duct tape. And I'm like, "Okay." And then they put different size drywall and try to match it. And it's like, it's 3/8, it's not 5/8. And it's just like,
You're
doesn't
down
quite
there.
match.
You're down there at the duct tape section in Walmart with a chunk of paint trying to match up your.
So we've repaired a lot of that. I mean,
Oh.
we've had clothes in with the where it's really hot piping for the furnace,
Mm-hmm.
and it was full of clothes and newspaper. And I'm like, "Okay, why didn't you all burn up before now?"
Oh. That is,
Do any
yeah.
of your kids sense spirit?
Yeah, they do.
That's super common.
I wonder if and again, if the person is the fulcrum, does that then get passed on? Maybe not genetically, but through kind of family, the nurture. You know,
Yeah,
I'm wondering if that happens.
I don't know. I don't know what I. It's just funny how I've just connected with spirit. It's just funny. But I
Mm,
have.
mm.
I
That
just
that is. Ooh.
tell the bad ones to leave and the good ones that they can stay.
So.
Then I have symbols for my parents, so when I know that they're like visiting me, then I'll see butterflies. That's a symbol for my mom.
Uh huh.
Um, birds, like her favorite was a robin.
Uh huh.
So, and flowers, and when I smell certain smells, it will just come out of nowhere, like pine
Uh huh.
is another scent that I smell quite frequently when spirits near.
So is that like that'd be, I mean, that'd be comforting when your parents come to visit.
Yeah.
Okay. On to the so what was okay, so in the old house you lived in when you were a child, it would throw stuff at your brother.
Yep.
How did your brother come out of that? Is he okay?
He's okay. He
Yeah.
doesn't have any ill things that he's dealt with in his life.
Have you talked
He
to him about what's that?
he seems to be okay.
Have you asked him about that stuff? What does he remember and how does he feel? Does he feel like it I mean, does
It
it
affected him at the time really bad to where he would like he spent quite a few years like sleeping upstairs on the couch because he was afraid to go back down.
mm,
I can't blame him, right?
yeah. Yeah. Oh. Well, I wouldn't go back down if I'm down
The
there and
family kind of came out of it okay.
so the family came out of it okay. Now, have you and him talked about those experiences since you become adults and
I have not brought it up to him.
I wonder if you guys compared notes what would come out of that. What
All right.
yeah, that would
But my
be
sister, yeah. My one sister that works at the lunchroom, her son could see spirit also.
uh-huh.
And so he had that gift for a long time, but now the gift is he doesn't see anybody anymore. But I don't know. I don't know if it's hereditary. I don't know.
Mm, that
But
is that I wonder if it's maybe not hereditary, but you will pick up certain traits from your parents. Like if you have a parent that I don't know, takes off their shoes before they go in the house, and that's repetition and repetition. You'll you'll probably pick that up as a habit of your own. And if you have a parent that whatever, and I'm wondering if you have a parent that's open up to to maybe the other side, if you won't, where that's normalized and accepted and okay, if maybe that won't be something that kind of gets ingrained in you.
Well,
It looks like,
I wouldn't doubt it.
That's an interesting thought.
yeah. And so, if you were give us your top 3 scary instances in your old house when you were a kid, the ones that really
Okay.
made you shake.
The top one for me was the nightmare that I had, that it felt like it was reality. Does
Well,
that make sense? I
set
felt like I was awake experiencing it.
set this up for us. The nightmare. What was the nightmare?
Okay. Well, it was very scary and creepy. And the guy, he just had this most evil look. And it was in the, we had pink carpet and we had purple carpet. So I was in the purple carpet room.
So you
And
guys named the room by the pink or purple carpet. I dig it. I dig it. It was a different time back then when the carpet was thick. You had to
yeah,
comb it, and
black
it.
rug carpet.
Yep. And the best part is, you go into the kitchen, and the table was green. Who knew? It's just, it's a.
My mom did orange and
Okay, I caught.
figure, right?
Your mom did orange what?
Orange and red.
Oh yeah. See, that is. Oh man, that is.
Green shag in the front room down the hallway, orange shag in their bedroom, pink in my sister's. Well, us three shared a room, and then the purple one with my older sister, and then the next sister down from her
And
shared the purple.
what did the brother get downstairs in his haunted dungeon?
He got this laminate like floor, those little sticky square pads.
Oh, okay, okay.
And then yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't have. It just had that down there.
For any of you young kids, I have
Yes.
to throw this out there. I'm a fairly, I'm a seasoned piece of meat, but the generation before us, and especially my grandparents' generation, had an affinity for color that that would make how do I put this? That would make fairy vomit look bland.
Exactly.
We're talking lime green toilets and weird shaped stuff, and comfort was never a thought when they put together a chair. It was, can you make someone pull a face when they walk in your house like this? They really, they want to bring the cringe out in everyone that comes over for dinner. But anyways, go on. So you were having a dream in the purple room.
In the purple room, and of course, I was the youngest by myself.
Now the
so
purple room was your older sister's room. Is that what you said?
it was my older sister's room that is underneath the room that my brother lived in, well, stayed in, slept
Mm-hmm.
in. That was his bedroom. So it was right underneath there. So I mean, my posters on my walls would get ripped off above my head, and then this started happening before I started having the nightmares. But the spirit went and drug me down the hallway into my bathroom, and he had a hold of me, and he wouldn't let go, and he's like, "You're mine, I'm gonna keep you." And I was just like, no, and I was trying to like kick him off and fight him off, and I was like, I know I was probably thrashing around in my bed, and it was just like so intense and so real to me that I could feel like the weight of him like being on top of me. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Like
And
like the hag stories.
I guess I don't know what that really references,
Oh,
but
it's old stories. The when you're like experience sleep paralysis. Well, the
yeah,
myth was that there was a hag that was trying to steal your life
yes,
or essence or
I
soul
think
or
it's
breath.
trying to come into my body. Yeah,
You think he was trying to come into your body, like he wanted to possess
possess it.
you? And if he's the one that was mean to your brother, he'd have set
Yeah,
you on a tirade. Your brother would have been beat to crap by his sister. So anyway, so yeah, he drags you
thinking
into
of
the bathroom.
myself. Yep. and he just would not let me go. And I was just like, I was so panicked and so freaked out. And I think my mom came in and woke me up, and she's just like, "What is the matter? Why are you thrashing around in bed?" And I just broke into tears, and I was just like, "Mom, it's got a hold of me and it won't let me go. And he told me he's going to keep me and I was going to be his forever." And I was just like, I was like really totally completely freaked out. I had to sleep with lights on. I couldn't like, I couldn't like function. Does that make sense?
Oh
I
yeah.
literally for like a year and a half, I could not function.
Yeah.
I probably got maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep.
So and then that starts having an effect on your well-being mentally and
Yeah.
physically, and so either way, the ghost kind of won because he weakened you into a more weakened state where he could torture you more.
Correct.
Oh.
Things started happening, missing from my bedroom. Like my wallet would come up missing, and I'm just like, and earrings would come up missing, and I couldn't find them, and I'm just like, why are you torturing me, you know?
Mm.
And it just kept going and kept going and kept going, and I'm just like, Mom, I can't stay there. And she's just like, well, what do you think is the matter? I'm like, well, don't you remember the chains? You hear it yourself, and all this and that. And she's just like, she just was really just newly remarried to my stepdad, so I'm sure her mind wasn't really, focused on that aspect of it. But I mean, her herself, she was haunted till the day she left.
Mm.
So,
How was your stepdad with these haunting stories?
uh, well, when he wrestled with the one in Nevada, he believed us after that, and so he had someone come in and do some kind of like cleansing. So it was okay for a few years, and then when I got married and moved, then I don't know. Then that spirit just told my mom that if she didn't move, they were gonna break her neck. They were gonna push her downstairs and break her neck. And then the lady that lived there, I felt so bad for her when I found out that she actually 2 weeks later after moving in fell down the stairs and broke her neck.
I wonder if that family has a lot of the same stories you do.
I wonder too. I do.
Mm. And okay, so there's one of your scary experiences. Give us
The
two
other one
more.
would have to be the toy box lid when it
Yeah,
fell
now
down.
that one freaks me out
Were
because
you inside?
I was. It
Oh
was a
no, no.
it sounds like a
Mm-mm.
frog came and joined the show for a second.
Yes.
I
I have
wonder
to
if I
mute
could.
myself.
Yeah, Betsy, I know Betsy mutes herself, and for those just listening, you just see her coughing, into her hand. The poor thing is, she's fighting the croup or the gombu or
I don't know.
Andromeda strain, whatever. But yeah, so that one scares me. Our little brother when he was quite young got his thumb stuck in a bumper hitch hole, like where you put the ball hitch in the old bumpers. Old pickup trucks used to have metal bumpers, folks, and not this plastic stuff. So the people that actually mount a ball hitch into the metal bumper, and he got his thumb stuck in there at a neighbor's house, and the neighbor came out and saw this little kid crying, and he was just a little guy, maybe 3 or 4, and thankfully the neighbor and my dad got him out. But little kids being trapped scared, it's kind of a scary thought. And to
Yeah.
think you're little and inside of a toy box with a heavy lid that could
Yep.
fall
All,
down, and
all good.
imagine
If he
your
would have been lifted off, I would have suffocated. That's how
yeah, and
bad.
imagine your family looking for you then and running around
Exactly.
screaming, and you're inside of a toy box, and hopefully it's not
Down in
soundproof.
the storage room. Yeah. Nobody could hear me. My mom couldn't hear me screaming.
Not to mention with all the other sounds
That's
going on
scary.
in the house, the
Yeah.
chains and the other ghosts. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
that is and back then, um, when we were kids, um, we were latchkey kids.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that most of my generation made it out because a lot of us just stumbled and bumbled our way through existence, and the parents might pass through our lives every, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. But other than that, I mean, we were just kind of on our own. And that's not
Yep.
saying anything bad about the parents. It's just
Just the way the life was.
it was just kind of the times,
Yep.
and everyone had that. All the kid, like, it's crazy if I think about like when my son was, I don't know, preteen or whatever. I think about the stuff I did at that age. If he was to do those, I would not be okay with it.
Exactly.
But
Right.
that's because I think we're the rubber band flipping back and hitting you in the nose when you try to flick it, we're the reaction. Now we're kind of overbearing, coddling helicopter parents because you know,
Yeah.
we think back that. But anyways, okay. And what's the third scariest?
So, yeah, before we cut you loose, I know you've got to get going here pretty quick, but what's the last
Yeah.
scariest story that you have from that house?
I was probably 13. I was home alone, and one night I went in to use the restroom in the main hallway. And as I went in there, the curtain for the shower, it like moved, like something ran into it. And I was just like, I was petrified because I felt like something was behind me as I walked. And when I went in there, and it was just like the curtain just poof. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I immediately just went to my mom and dad's, the master suite where their bathroom was. And I was so petrified. I had every light in the house on because I was just waiting for my mom to get home and my stepdad to get home. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I was just there by myself. And it was really intense because I wasn't like expecting it, but it scared the crap out of me when it just flew into the shower curtain. And I was just like, wow. Because I felt the air, go by me. But yeah, so
That is my nightmare. To be in there handling business, and that's when the ghost decides to pop up. I mean, it
yeah.
probably makes handling business a little more efficient, but
What
what do you
yourself?
do? You're predisposed.
All right.
You're not going to run efficiently. I mean, for obvious reasons. Yeah, that is the worst.
That it was
Imagine. I mean, I just laid out scary scene.
yeah.
You're sitting there going through Twitter or whatever, and it pops up, and it's like doing the kneeling down like a gargoyle on the square part behind you. Just yeah.
And so I had a really hard time with shower curtains for a long time after that. I got clear ones so
Oh
I could
yeah.
actually see who was in the shower. And I mean, still to this day, you guys, I still have to have the sheer part of the shower curtain. I can have the fabric over the top of it now, but
Mm-hmm.
at the time it was like I had to have it completely, clear.
So it's going to take a lifetime. You're progressing out of the phobia it gave you, but you're not all the way out of it yet. And I don't blame you. I wouldn't be either. Not a bit.
I had nightmares about it, just thinking about talking about it today. It's just
Oh
like, okay, it's all right, it's okay, it's okay.
yeah.
And it's kind of scary when you think about it because they didn't have very many good spirits that came in. It was just always like really bad ones at that house.
You wonder
I don't
if
know the people that lived there.
yeah. Well, it got the lady that moved in after you, but you wonder if like the Indian spirits that were there and were friendly, if
Yeah,
the mean spirits come in and they're just such a more brutal force that they push out or drive into hiding the good spirits, and then they take dominance. And there's been shows made about it that there's an evil that kind of
yeah,
maintains and controls, but that's freaky stuff.
It is freaky.
That is,
Thank you so much for sharing this with us today, Shirley.
yeah. Thank you much. And I've still got a news story to get to. If you want to hang out for a minute, Shirley, or if you got to go.
Actually, I've got an appointment coming up, so
Okay. Well,
we
we're gonna
watch it.
we're gonna have you on again. I think we need to do. I think it'd be fun to do like our haunted guests roundup. I was thinking about that the other day, and I would like to see what people who have experienced hauntings when they compare notes. What they because I don't have an experience to speak about because my house is not haunted.
Thank goodness, right?
No, it is not,
I
and
worried about talking to you guys because I don't want to draw any of that to you, and I certainly don't want to take any of that back into my home. It's just
yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. And I hope that we are not a conduit for hauntings,
no.
you know. So we'll have to watch that. But Shirley, we'll let you go. And thank you
Okay.
very much. And we hope to talk to you again soon.
Thanks,
Alright.
Shirley.
Everyone, that's Shirley. And yeah, go to the Facebook page. I've got it shared on there, or and it's on everywhere else. I kind of zoomed in on that Jeep picture, and that is
Picture.
that is
If I catch more, I'll send it to you guys.
yeah, do. Well, it'll be a current update, and I think we need to get with you after, get the exact address. I want to look into the history of that house. I want to see.
I have it.
Do you? Okay, Betsy has it. That'll be an upcoming show, and it's Halloween. I mean, it's the time of the year to talk about ghosts and goblins and
Yep.
all that stuff. All right, Shirley, you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Have a
Yeah,
great one. Get
you
better.
too.
All right.
Yeah,
We'll see you.
bye.
Bye bye.
All right, so. Okay, Betsy, how are you feeling?
I'm fine if I don't talk. As soon as I start talking, I start coughing. So I'm going to listen to your stories.
You're going to listen to the story. Okay, well, I've got to adjust cameras real quick because as soon as people jump off, the position of everything kind of goes awry, but that's okay. We'll just run with it, make it happen. But so in Norway, there was a mass shooting the other day, and this mass shooting is pretty dang interesting. Um, I'll get to it while I adjust cameras so that anyone that's watching, again, this is live on YouTube right now. We're going to start doing live on YouTube, sharing to Facebook. Um, I think that that's probably the way we're going to do it from here on forward, but don't quote me on anything because I am wrong. What, 98% of the time? It's kind of my jam. I'm usually kind of wrong. But anyway, so in Norway, the authorities in Norway have identified the suspect in an act of terrorism perpetuated by a bow and arrow welding assailant that killed 5 people and wounded 3 others. He let loose at least 8 arrows. Espen Anderson Brathen. There's 2 A's in that A part of Brathen. It sounds like a...
Probably bra then.
Don't ruin it for me. That was Brathen. He sounds like a drunk guy was spelling his name. He said, "Yeah, run with it," right? Or dictating his name. 37-year-old Danish citizen was arrested after Wednesday evening's attack in the town of Königsberg, located about 50 miles southwest of Oslo. Police said authorities believe he acted alone. The head of Norway's domestic intelligence service, known as the PST, the PIST, said the attack appears to be an act of terror. We do not know what the motivation of the perpetrator is. Hans Svierskjelsfold.
Good job.
Yeah. Sjoevold. Now, if it was so
It's probably just Jodvold or something.
yeah, and the middle name might be just Veer. But anyways, said in English, according to the Associated Press, We have to wait for the outcome of the investigation. Police allege that Brathen killed 4 women and 1 man. 3 other people were seriously wounded. The victims were between the ages of 50 and 70. I'm wondering if we can look into it and find out he was targeting the elderly for some reason.
Oh.
That
With a
or
bow and arrow?
yeah, that or either he got mad and decided to cut loose at a country kitchen buffet. Earlier officials said that the suspect is a Danish citizen and Muslim convert who had previously been flagged by authorities over concerns that he'd become radicalized. There earlier had been worries of the man having been radicalized. Regional Police Chief Ol B. Sieverud said that at a news conference on Thursday. He also said that there were complicated assessments regarding a motive and that it would take time for it to be clarified. He said the last report of concern over the suspect was last year. So the guy
With a bow and arrow. Did he have a quiver? Was he like
yeah, he must have had a quiver. It's they don't go into a lot of details. Bow and arrows, I mean they are a very effective weapon. Lots of people
yeah.
hunt with them. That is, but now had he been radicalized and everything else, I know a lot of people, have some kind of I don't know if Islamophobia is the correct word for it or what, but a lot of people have that and they're like, oh yeah, that just makes sense. But I don't know. I don't want to look at it like that. I want to look at it as it's a sad thing. And if he felt he had to be radicalized, I mean, terrorism is acts of violence in the name of politics, and to cause political change. And that's, man, that's rough. And I don't think he's going to get any good outcome from it, but he did it with it. So everyone who's saying that guns are horrible and everything else, everything's a weapon. It's all there, but I just think it's wild. He went out with a bow and arrow. Went out and did it. He brought Florida man to Norway. Dropped him right off.
I'm telling you, some of them broadheads are so terrifying. I don't know if I'd rather be shot with a bullet.
The hunting arrows are rough. If
Yeah.
they've got some broadheads that once it enters, I'm going to say it in the case of an animal because that's the instance where I would use a bow personally. In the case of an animal, they've got broadheads that have blades that once it pierces, they actually kind of roll back and become wider. So it's smaller, I think, to carry in your quiver, but once it hits the animal, they actually roll out and become wider, and they become 3 knife blades that are, connected to this center, the pointed head of the arrow, and that's used to cause as much damage as you can, so that for hunting purposes it's humane. You want to kill the animal as fast as you can humanely, so that no hunter. I'm just going to let you know, real hunters don't go out to hurt the animal, but they go out because the act of hunting is a way to get better meat, to get better food. It's healthier. Also, in my opinion, hunting is more humane than buying a steer that lived its life in a pen and didn't get to live free at all. Where hunting, that animal lived free. That animal was the master of its own destiny for a while. But yeah, those broadheads. But I mean, even if he was just hitting them with target headed arrows, which is
like blunts.
just a point. Ah, man, 5 people, 3 more seriously wounded. I'm going to look further into this story, but I heard about that and I thought, that's wild. We've heard about the guy in China that went out with a sword and killed something like 11 people and wounded 13 or 14 more. It's brutal.
Anything's a weapon.
Anything's a weapon, except for your smile. All right, Betsy, get feeling better. Everyone, thanks for joining us. I hope um yeah, I know we had a couple of difficulties getting some, to get a perpetual sound coming through, and we didn't do this in-house today. Um so that might have caused some disclarity, but that was a wild story. The hauntings, I'm glad I've never been haunted. And I don't know. I would like to get of all of our previous haunted guests, I'd like to get them together and see what they think. See if they can come up with because it's kind
Little
of
round table.
a taboo subject. No one really covers it like in studies and stuff. And I think maybe we should start it. Wild Pod University, studying the hauntings, and then we'll
Well,
branch
Pod
out.
you.
We'll have like the West Wing where they study the Sasquatch and Dean Less and things like that. But yeah, all right, everyone have a great week,
Have a
and
great week.
yeah, hope everything treats you good. All right, we'll talk to you later.